Okay, today we're going to talk about this 2019 Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus. I should be pretty fairly familiar with this vehicle because I have the same exact Tesla myself, a 2019 Standard Range Plus. The only difference really is that mine has different wheels, different color, and I have a little bit different software. I have the full self-driving capability. This still has a very capable autopilot, which I'll tell you about. All right, so on the used Tesla market, one of the most affordable Model 3s that you'll find is either like the mid-range or Standard Range Plus Model 3. Prices can vary. If you're watching this in the future, obviously can. Okay, so people could be watching this video in 5 years in the future, but as of October 2023, right now, if you're in the market for a 2018, 2019, 2020 Standard Range Plus Model 3, you can buy them right in the $30,000 range in the used market. So obviously, that's a lot lower price point. So maybe you want a Tesla, but you can't quite afford a brand new Model 3, or you're kind of wavering between a brand new Model 3 or the $7,500 tax credit, or just buying a pre-owned one. Obviously, that can be a tough decision. I'll kind of go through some of the different scenarios that might sway you in either direction. So let's quickly talk about the tax credit. Right now, there's a $7,500 tax credit pretty much on any version of the Model 3 right now. That could go away at the end of this year. We don't know what the government will do next year. Tesla is selling a lot of vehicles. Right now, the Model Y, I think, is the fourth best-selling car in the United States. The Model 3 is selling very well, too. So the U.S. government might figure we're throwing money away to incentivize people to buy these Teslas when they're already selling pretty well on their own. So that $7,500 tax credit probably will go away. Maybe they'll have something different. It might be $3,750 or $2,000. So obviously that pays a big decision-making process into buying a new or pre-owned Tesla. The thing with the $7,500 tax credit is that you have to be under a certain income level. I think it's $150 for individual, $300,000 annual income for a joint. And it's not like you get a check in the mail for $7,500 from the government. It's basically a $7,500 credit towards your total tax liability. So you need to have $7,500. You have to have $7,500 owed to the federal government in taxes, for it to make sense. And some people already are maximizing their, write-offs already. Like I had a manager years ago. He had 4 kids. He had a wife that stayed home and took care of the kids and didn't work. And he owned 2 houses. He had their house and a rental property. So he pretty much didn't pay any taxes at all. So if you're already, not paying any taxes because everything's written off, you're not going to get, a $7,500 check in the mail. So for people like that, it wouldn't apply. Let's talk about financing. Okay, maybe a new Model 3 might be a good deal, and it's $7,500 more than a used one, but you'll have to finance that $7,500. So you're going to get that, tax credit, but, your monthly payment might be $100, $150 a month more. Because you're buying a vehicle that's $7,500 more. So if you're looking to be at a certain monthly payment, $500 or $600 a month, that new car might be out of your monthly payment. And even though you're getting a $7,500 tax credit, if you're financing $7,500 more, that's $7,500 that you're going to pay 6, 7, 8% in interest on for 5, 6, 7 years, depending on how long you finance. So obviously it's not as cut and dry as people might have it. You really have to look at your own personal finances, your situation. What are you driven by? Total price, saving, tax credits, or are you really looking for a specific monthly payment that you're trying to budget? So you have to consider all those things. Okay, all right, so let's talk more about the Standard Range Plus. So the Standard Range Plus is only available in rear-wheel drive. To get all-wheel drive, you need to get a long-range or performance version of the Model 3, which has a motor in the front, motor in the back, making it very quick and also giving it all-wheel drive. For those of us who live in the Pacific Northwest, including me, there was maybe 2 days last year where I didn't want to drive my Tesla because I needed all-wheel drive. For us, we have a Tesla and we have 2 gas cars. So for us, if we do need to go road tripping, longer range drives, we can do that in our other vehicles, or if it's snowing out, we can drive our all-wheel drive vehicle, where we use a Tesla for daily commuting. I drive the most out of anyone in the family. My wife works from home, so I daily drive the Tesla, and that saves us money on electricity, and it also saves us money on maintenance, because maintenance costs are far less lower on an EV versus one of our gas vehicles. So I'm saving wear and tear on my my full-size van, which isn't a great vehicle to daily drive. I can keep the wear and tear on that lower and use it when I need it for van stuff, not commuting. Likewise, you know, we have an Infiniti FX37 with all-wheel drive, 325 horsepower, but that gets 15 miles per gallon, and the service costs are a lot more expensive than an EV. You know, an all-wheel drive service, 90K service, things like that. Okay, so comparing this to a brand new Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, the new Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive has switched battery chemistry. So that's something to take into consideration. So batteries are different, just like engines. Some cars have a high-performance engine. Some cars have like the economy engine. So the new rear-wheel drive Model 3, which replaces the Standard Range Plus, now uses LFP batteries, which are lithium iron phosphate batteries. It's they're not as energy dense as lithium-ion batteries like this one has, so it's heavier, but they're cheaper to produce and manufacture, and they don't require cobalt, which is a rare earth material, which some people worry about with EVs. So the LFP batteries are preferable in a lot of ways, but since they're not as energy dense, you don't get as good performance. They don't release electricity as fast as lithium-ion batteries. So you'll notice that this 0 to 60 is like 5.2, 5.3 seconds, where the new rear-wheel drive Model 3 is 0 to 60 like in 5.8 seconds. So you can definitely feel a difference in performance. It's not huge, but if you do like performance, that is one advantage you have with these older standard range Model 3s, because they use the lithium-ion batteries, which give you better performance and acceleration. But the one thing that with lithium-ion batteries that is different is for daily use, they only like to be charged to 80%. That's just for that just makes them happy. Every once in a while, if you go on a road trip, it's perfectly fine to charge them to 100%, but for daily use, for the longest life of the batteries, Tesla recommends that you charge them to 80%. Lithium iron phosphate batteries, LFP batteries, are complete opposite. They like to be charged to 100%. So you have more usable daily range. So you have fully charged range in the rear-wheel drive about 270 miles. Charging to 80% on this one will give you about a daily range of about 170, 180 miles. When fully charged, it's about 240 miles. But this is not a brand new Tesla, so you have battery degradation about 0.5% to 1% a year. So probably this one now has a fully charged range closer to 220 miles versus 240 miles due to the slight battery degradation. But don't worry, this battery should last a long time, many hundreds of thousand miles, 10, 20 years. They're very durable. So those are some differences. Obviously for me, my daily commute's 30 miles, so I never go anywhere dipping below 130 miles. I go home, I charge it, and it's fine. And the other thing to consider too is, obviously you're saving gas versus you're saving a lot of money on gas, switching to an EV. But not all EVs are created equal. Like I was just charging a big Rivian. To get a full charge on a Rivian, it's like $50 at a fast charger, because it has huge giant batteries, probably 4 times bigger than this Model 3. This has really little batteries. In fact, the rear-wheel drive version of the Model 3 is the most efficient, because that extra battery adds weight. Weight is your enemy in electric vehicles, so that reduces efficiency. And that extra electric motor also sucks up more electricity. So the most energy efficient version of the Tesla is the Model 3 rear-wheel drive. And another thing to think about, okay, since I just use my Tesla as a commuter and I only drive 30 or 40 miles a day, if I did have an all-wheel drive version of the Model 3 and I had a long-range version of the Model 3, I'd be lugging around this big battery that I hardly ever use. So that larger battery also adds weight to the vehicle, so that's going to make it less efficient. And since I only use all-wheel drive a couple times a year, my Tesla is plenty fast enough. Sometimes it'd be nice to have more power. So, I'd have all-wheel drive, which I don't really need, maybe a couple days a year. And I have a long-range battery, which I'd probably maybe utilize a couple times a year. But I have other vehicles, gas vehicles, that I can commute in. But even with a small battery, this thing is a very capable commuter, because the big advantage of Tesla is their amazing supercharging network. So you have this lightning bolt right here, and we'll go here. The 3 lightning bolts, that's all your fast charging. Look at all the fast chargers. No one can come close to the charging network. It's very seamless. Like I was using Electrify America the other day. It took me about a minute. I had to plug it in. I had to communicate with the vehicle. I had to put my credit card in there. So that was all time consuming stuff. Where with a Tesla, you just back it into the charger, you plug it in, and it's charging in a matter of seconds, because you add credit card to your Tesla app, and it's all seamless. You just back into a charger, you plug it in, and it works. The Tesla charging network is very reliable. People sometimes complain that they go to non-Tesla chargers, they don't work. They don't charge as fast as they're advertised to, and they're just sparse. Tesla has chargers everywhere, and they're always available. And sometimes with those other chargers, maybe it's working fine, but it might be filled up with people already using it. With Tesla, it tells you beforehand. So it says there's 5 stalls available there, 5 there, 7 stalls available there, 3 available there. There's about a 32-minute wait time at that one in Seattle, so you can try to avoid that one. And it also tells you how much they are. That charges 46 cents a kilowatt. That charges 31 cents a kilowatt. So Tesla charges for energy at their superchargers, depending on how are they high usage or low usage, and also energy rates can vary from the utilities depending if it's during the day or it's at nighttime. So there's a lot of different variables. And Tesla has an amazing trip planner. So I have about 122 miles of range, nowhere near enough range to make it to Spokane. But if I wanted to, I have to spell it right. If I want to go to Spokane in this Model 3, I can still do it, and it'll plan the whole trip for me. So I'm going to have to charge 3 times on my way to Spokane. It's a little over, I think it's like 250 miles. So I'd have to charge 3 times. So obviously it's going to take a little bit longer than a gas car. But sometimes after driving for an hour or two, it's nice to get out and take a break. And usually they strategically place these superchargers by malls, Starbucks, so you're not in the middle of nowhere. You can go do something, empty your bladder, take your dog for a walk, get some fresh air, get a cup of coffee while the vehicle charges. And it doesn't take long to add range. Usually you can get a full charge sometimes in about 20 minutes, if not sooner, depending on how empty or full your battery is. All right, so I'm going on and on, but there's a lot of information to talk about. So let's continue our walk around on this Model 3. So nice, beautiful interior. It's very sparse, very minimalist, because the majority of the functionality is in the screen. You have all sorts of cool things to watch. You can't watch it while you're driving, but you can watch Netflix, Hulu, Disney while the vehicle's parked. Maybe while you're at the supercharger. You can play video games. You have the toy box. And with the over-the-air updates, Tesla is constantly adding features. Then you have the amazing Autopilot, which is traffic-aware cruise control, which allows the vehicle to brake and accelerate in its own lane. And it actually works on regular roads too. It's not as advanced, anywhere near as advanced as like the flagship full self-driving, which I have, but I use a lot of Teslas with Autopilot, and it works great. You get it pointed on a road, and you can get a lot of mileage off of it. You're in horrible stop-and-go traffic. It is really nice. If you drive on the highway a lot, it is fantastic. You'll be so spoiled by Autopilot after experiencing it for a little bit, you won't want to drive any other vehicle that doesn't have it. I'm spoiled by it. I'll usually take my own car, or I'll take a Tesla with Autopilot if I have to run any errands for the dealership, just because I find it pretty much intolerable to have to drive and stop and go traffic or on the highway without those ADAS systems, or also known as advanced driver's assistance systems. So you can see we have a lot of space in the Tesla. We have the frunk. We have a lot of space here in the trunk as well. Since we're not, handcuffed to a internal combustion engine design where you have a gas tank, a drive shaft, exhaust system, it frees up a lot of space to package a vehicle more efficiently. You have generally more space in a Tesla versus a comparable sized, gas-powered vehicle like a BMW 3 Series or a Mercedes-Benz C-Class. It's also the safest vehicle on the road. The batteries are very low and very heavy, so it has a very low rollover risk. It also makes it very fun handling vehicle as well, but it makes it very safe. The software makes it safe, but the way this is constructed, when the NHTSA tested the Model 3, the lowest probability of injury out of any other vehicle on the road. Well, there you have it. One beautiful example of a 2019 Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus. If you're in the market for a pre-owned electric vehicle, these are fantastic values, and they'll continue to save you money as the years go along in maintenance costs versus a gas car, and obviously the big savings you'll make on electricity versus gas. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon, and have a wonderful day.